One of the things I wanted to discuss today is jealousy and envy. 'Tis the season to be absolutely sometimes in conflict as you come to the end of the year. There are times when families get together, and instead of having that glowing, warm fireside feeling of compassion, sister may drive up in a brand new car. Brother may have just received a mega dollar job. Any host of things can come up that we may find ourselves silently fuming about. We could also find that looking across the room, a family member is. But it doesn't have to be just about family. So I just for fun wanted to give you a test. Are you a jealous person? Let's see. One of your friends just got engaged. How do you feel? Extremely happy for him or her. Sort of happy. Not really happy, but you pretend to be. Or annoyed. It should have been you. Question 2. When you learn that your boyfriend or girlfriend has a hot new coworker, you A, hope this new person is good at his or her job, subtly inquire about the coworker's relationship status. C, not so subtly inquire about the coworker's relationship status. Or D, get extremely worried and insist your partner stay away from this person. Number 3, is it okay for your girlfriend or boyfriend to be in touch with their ex? A, sure, his or her ex is not a threat. B, it's not ideal, but it's my partner's choice. C, I'd prefer if he or she wasn't, and I'd try to make that clear. Or D, this is absolutely unacceptable. The ex has to be 100% out of the picture. Question 4, when your partner comments about how hot a certain actor or actress is on TV or a movie, how do you feel? A, engage in a longer discussion about other hot actors you're into. B, agree or disagree. C, laugh it off. Or D, get really offended. Number 5, a close friend of yours just got a promotion and a large pay raise. Are you proud of him or her? A, definitely. B, a little bit because you know how hard they worked. C, not really, but you liked her Facebook post. Or D, not at all. You wish you were the one making that money. Number 6, when your partner gets invited to a bachelor or bachelorette party in Vegas or anywhere, you A, are very excited for him or her. B, want to know more about his or her activities. C, insist on a play-by-play itinerary in addition to constant calling them or texting them. Or D, don't let them go. 7, if you happen to see your partner checking out the waiter or waitress during dinner, how do you feel? 8, are you comfortable with your partner having a best friend of the opposite sex? And 9, have you ever read emails, texts, and or signed into a partner's accounts just to see who he or she is communicating with? Number 10, when your friend was given a front row ticket to your favorite band while you paid a ton for the nosebleed section, how did you feel? These are some of the questions that maybe you want to think about when you're thinking about whether you're a jealous person. No one's perfect, right? So, what are 8 ways to overcome this nasty jealousy, whether it be a relationship or whether it be Christmas dinner? Let's talk about it. So, 1, get more information. Most of the time, we envy one quality about a person and we presume the rest of their qualities are as perfect as the one we want. That's usually not the case. Think Rain Man. How did he count all those straws and play poker? But his social skills needed some fine tuning, yes? Obviously, he was severely, either was autistic or I can't remember what the other one that is called. So if you consider their success in context, you'll see that they don't always and aren't always a superstar. Maybe, just maybe, back when you got a blue ribbon for the fastest freestyle swimmer in the 7 to 8 age group, maybe someone else was jealous of you and wanted to know how to swim like you and actually became a wonderful swimmer because you were their role model. So get more information. Number 2, instead of hating the person that you are jealous of, your sister that got the wonderful car, the brother that got the multi-dollar job, compliment them. What? You can't be serious, you're thinking, right? Actually, I am. If you've tried it in numerous times and it works, you'll know what I mean. Last year, I came across a blogger I envied. She had 2 degrees from Yale. Now, why was that person someone that I envied? They deserved it. They worked hard for it, right? And it was probably much, much better than my blog. Complimenting them is being the bigger person. It's being able to say, you know, I respect you for what you did, for the hard work that you made. And it also makes friends, not enemies. Number 3, do one thing better than the person you're jealous of. So, absolutely love the dress that your enemy is wearing because it reminds you that you can always find one thing better than your friend's makeup, the dress they're wearing. So if matching designer outfits gives you a boost of confidence, knock yourself out. If that sister is wearing something or got something done to her face or has something that you don't have and you know that you want to be able to be just as good, it's okay. Go and wear something just as wonderful. Work out at the gym. Do something about the jealousy. Don't sit there and stew. So, the most important thing that we get from all of this is that it's stupid to be jealous, but we all do it. And instead of fuming away, let that person that you're jealous of be a mentor in a way, a goal, a marker that you can try to be as good as. If you love the way that they dress, if you love the way that they do things, strive to be as good. But remember, if you want to drive your partner away, really, really drive them away, continue to be that nagging, jealous person that can't let their phone alone and that is constantly asking who they're talking to at work. Remember, if you don't trust your partner, you don't have a relationship to begin with. You're too busy being angry and hating someone else. So the most important thing you can do is just try as best you can to try to be the bigger person. All right? All right. So we're going to look at Susan from Connecticut. She says, I am not employed at this time and would like to know if you see a job coming up for me soon. Thank you. Well, Susan, usually if I'm going to read on someone without a job, they have interviews for me to read on. So if you have an interview or have applied at somewhere, please give me the name of that place. But giving you a magical number maybe is not the best thing to do at this time, which I can do for you if you want. But please understand that the most important thing you can do is give me a few places you've applied at, because obviously you're unemployed. You've had some time to look around, right? So here's what comes through, Susan, on your question. It says right now, there seems to be a feeling that you have had a really hard time moving on from something that really hurt you at your last job. Your reading shows, Susan, that the most important thing you can do is connect with either some friends that have jobs that maybe would be relevant to your skills, but also don't do it solely on people knocking on your door or telling you what they are doing. Get out there and look, because no matter what, you have to be able to try to apply at different places. And I'm not saying that you aren't, but you have not given me any place or told me what you have applied for or how many jobs. So if I look at just a reading that looks at something in a little more in depth, it says you are a winner at heart, Susan. And I do show a job for you, and I show you completely secure and happy and doing well in your job in the time frame of, and I have 9. Because we don't want to see you unemployed, because it would be extremely hard to find a job if you even went unemployed all the way up to the 9th month, which would be September. We're going to hope that that's 9 weeks. I feel that right now you need to move on from whatever hurt you in the past. Whether that is you having a problem with taking emotional sadness to work with you to the point where you self-destruct, or whether it is actually just you not being able to give up and move on from your last job. It says, do understand that the last job that you had, you were sick and tired of it. The future says the next 3 months or 3 weeks do not seem like you're getting out of your slump. You still seem to be harvesting like someone going out gathering vegetables or mushrooms in the spring. Disappointments. You're still harvesting the regrets. So your reading says, do not do that. Susan, it is vital and important to understand you need to get out and communicate with employers, with places that even perhaps are not exactly the kind of pay scale that you would want, but will look good on a resume that you're doing something rather than sitting around. Your reading says, please do not be so cautious and so defensive about what you do. Understand that you are looking for a powerful job that will give you lucrative money and lifestyle. But the only way that you're going to be able to do that, Susan, is to get out there, do whatever you can to make yourself busy, even if it's just something to put on a resume, even if it's something just to fill your time so you're not lying on the couch or the living room floor staring at the ceiling. And that's what I have for you, Susan. All right? Okay, again, those of you that may want a reading, please know you can inquick your question at Achieve. You can also call 602-666-6027 and be able to call me with a fake name if you don't want to indulge your privacy. I don't need your real name, to be honest. I'm reading your energy. So let's go to Anita, who is in the call room. Hello, Anita. What can I do for you?
Hi. I don't know even how to express this, but I'm very frightened. I feel I have the most important decision I have to make for my future, for my life at this time. Which direction to go? Either stay put here in Michigan, go to Florida with parents, get back to Arizona where there's a condo and some of my stuff, get to Minnesota or Michigan to get to a health care system which works for me, my health back in balance. So I continue on.
Anita, these are the same questions you've been asking me for 2 years, and I want you to know, and I want you to know I'm going to look at first what comes through on this situation, and then you can give me a couple of those names for me to read on, preferably Arizona and your parents. So if I look at where are you in life at this particular time, Anita? And Anita, when I look at that, this is what comes through. Your reading says you are on the cusp, not through astrology. I don't do astrology, but you are on the cusp of kicking ass and getting started on your journey to be able to do something. Absolutely. But be careful of what you do. Your reading shows continually you find that you go back to your parents, and you continually find that where you are in a different state or in a different area always finds that it repeats the pattern of feeling pressured and unhappy. Your reading says in December and January, or January and February, I am shown that you need to be very careful before you make this life important decision again. If I look at Arizona, is Arizona going to solve your question or solve your problem? And looking at that, Arizona is seen as no. Arizona is seen as a place where you will need a lot of money, which you will not have. Arizona is seen as a place you've been there, done that, and you've already gone through the dysfunctions there. Arizona is not seen as a place that could give you an answer on what is your medical issue or concern. However, it shows that in February, and it says the places you have listed are not even in this reading yet. There will be some place new that you have not been at. If I look at, should you stay at your mom's or your parents' house, And looking at that, Anita, what comes through says, do not stay at your parents' house either. The feeling is that it's starting to become a dark hole that you keep funneling to when the problems occur. And it is not helping you to move on from your problem. And they are finding themselves frustrated as well. So physically, I believe that your answer on your medical issue is not solved by Arizona or your parents' house. What is your best course of action? If I look at that, Anita, what comes through says, A, understand that the pressure you are feeling right now has more to do with looking for a place that you can hang your hat and feel at peace than it does even the medical issue. And I don't think that your parents is that place, and I don't think that you will feel that way in Arizona. You need to take your bitch pill. You need to understand that there is seen a significant male of an older age bracket who is not the answer to this situation that you are concerned about, whether it is the doctor or whether it is there is a sense that you need to move on from whoever it was that created this situation of independence, and know that you're a big girl, and I'm not being sarcastic. You can handle this. Your reading says, please try to be more patient. Understand the life concerning situation you're in right now is still something that's going to happen with an answer for you, but probably more in February. I do not see any place that you need to go to quickly, and I do not see resolution by making a quick move at this time. So ultimately, if I look at a 4-month prediction of where are you in your journey with your medical and your life situation, January is seen as the month where there seems to be many boundaries, and you need to be careful that you do not settle for less and make a decision that will not work out for you and actually make you feel worse. February is seen as that time when family seems to be very important, but it's also creating you to feel like you're stuck in a situation that you're screaming to get out of. I'm shown March as another bad month. April is when everything resolves itself, and I feel that by end of February, March, you will find that home, that place, that city that will come to you without you bashing your head on walls trying to say, where is it? When is it? I think that it's going to come gracefully on its own, and look for February, March as your moving time. And that's what I have, Anita. That means
Okay.
less is more right now. Less is more right now.
Right, take my bitch pill.
Take your bitch pill, and less is more. Yes.
And I just, I can have one more moment. The thing is I was thinking of going to Minnesota to Mayo Clinic just to, whatever it took, so they get to the bottom of it.
I believe that is very open for you in February, March. Do you have an appointment?
No, it's just No, there's a place in Florida, there's a place in Arizona, or the Minnesota one of Mayo Clinic. And since we already had the condo, the one in Arizona, but they say the one in Minnesota has all the doctors that works with my insurance. My parents want me to go to the one in Florida, but I'm having problems within my own
I would say the Mayo Clinic is going to be your best bet. They're going to get to the bottom of this. They always do. And one way or the other, you either take what they have to give you or you don't. But I think you've been messing around with doctors in different states long enough. It's time to go to where they rock. And my feeling is that once you have an answer, you can let this go and start to take measures to do something about it. And that's what I see. Okay?
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Anita.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, we have Brenda from Ohio. And she says, my son recently moved closer to me. Will we have a closer relationship, and will we be happier and get closer together? Brenda, you didn't give me your son's name, so I really don't know what to do for the energy. I realize that I don't need real names, but I do need to have something. So I guess I'll just call him Sonny. So Sonny recently is moved closer. What are Sonny's thoughts and feelings about you, Brenda, as his mom? And this is what comes through. Brenda, when I look at this, and please know I always try to be honest about what I see. All things are possible, and you always have freedom of choice. But your reading says that there was a very hurtful situation between you both in the past. Maybe it was something that one of you said, or maybe one of you hurt or betrayed the other. And the feeling is that this nasty feeling of pressure between you both has really started to take over. At this particular time, your son seems to not know what he wants in life. And there is a feeling that he really wants to please you, Brenda. He really wants to. And he also wants to come back to that feeling of warmth and security that you used to both have back when things were good. So what does he need from you as his mom right now? And if I look at that, Brenda, it says that what your son needs from you at this time. It says mostly he just needs to feel as if he belongs with pride to your family. What he wants also is a helping hand. It shows that there is a feeling that whether this is some financial aid or whether this is just a chance to share the benefits of having respect in a family that seems to be at one time looking down on him. The sense is that all he wants from you, his mom, is to stand up for him. And if that means being the proud mediator and introducing him back into the circle of the fold and standing up for him, wonderful. Now, if at any point he starts to ask for money from the wrong sources, you need to mediate on that as well. You need to stay clear, steer him clear like a horse from even making it seem in any way that he is at a point in his life where he can't support or be of his own maturity. I feel that if you can stand up for him and guide him, which is what he wants, and also make him steer clear of anybody who is looking to pounce on him the minute that he asks for a favor, I think that things can get back on track. If I look at a 3-month prediction of where do things seem to be for you, Brenda, here is what comes through for you and your son. I have January, February, March, and let's just throw in April. I get almost identical cards again. It says January is the time where you both need to try not to think with your egos, try not to do the blame game, and try not to be right. It doesn't matter who's right. February is seen as a month that he is starting to be a part of the family. March is seen as a time, and again it comes through, where someone is giving money or being of a charitable nature to your son, and we'll hope that's you and not someone else. And in April it says things are still going well. So I think if we take things just a few months at a time, remembering A, that he needs your support, B, steer him clear of relatives in any way that we're looking for him to ask for a handout, C, remembering that it's important not to be right, and it's important, and by that I mean it doesn't matter who's right, who's wrong, or who in the past, and just remember to be his support system. That's the best you can do, and I believe that's all he really wants from you at this time. So in 4 months, I still see you getting along. And that's what I see, Brenda. All right, we're looking at Rick. And Rick is from Maine. And it says, I am seriously disabled and just went through a very contentious divorce with my wife of 12 years. I was not allowed to submit my medical records. Excuse me. That is a keen call coming in, which means I did not log out, and I am sorry about that, keen person. So it says, I was not allowed to submit my medical records to the court to prove my disability, and as a result, the opposing attorney was able to beat me up on the stand, and the judge checked that instead of disabled, I was just lazy. I am filing a human rights complaint under the ADA Act. How will this work? Okay, Rick. First of all, let me look at an energy reading for you. And when I look at what comes up, Rick, on you at this time in your life, it says, you seem to be a good guy. I feel that you walked away from a very standout relationship situation where probably neither of you really intentionally wanted to rip each other apart. I feel that at this point, your kindness and your forgiving nature are coming through. But I also see what's done is done. There is no way that the home situation is seen getting better. If I look at what is seen with your wife and of 12 years, and how does she feel at this time about what has happened? It's almost as if your wife feels like she has become the victim of circumstances in the process of trying to win. I think she feels you also got a nasty hand given to you. But it was important that she felt that she stood up for herself And she thought that your disability was becoming a power tool for you and that she would lose. Consequently, she found somebody that made you look like crap. And she's not happy about it. So, the last question you asked me is, will a human rights complaint under the ADA Act work for you? And again, please know that some things happen and take time. So if I look at within the next 12 months, will the Human Rights Act work for you? I'm not seeing it. Rick, I feel that you're going to have to take other measures. There is a sense that for whatever reason, it's almost as if the people in this ADA human rights thing is coming out looking very hard and very coldly at your situation. They take the cases that they feel will be a win-win. And for whatever reason, I feel that this could stretch on a long time. And I do not feel that this is something that's going to pan out for you quickly. There's always hope, but I would definitely look at other options. These people seem to have so many cases and so many, I understand you feel severely disabled, but I think it's also important to realize that the category they see severely disabled may be different than yours. And they may be looking at worst case scenario. I feel that you may win on this if you have the patience to wait many months. I see no answers on this quickly. And it's either going to be something that does not pan out, or it's something that's going to take a great deal of time. So I would say look for another option. If I look at, is this a case that you can find solutions to help yourself on other than the ADA? And it says, yes, I believe it is. And where there's a will, there's a way. But certainly do not stop at the ADA Act. I feel there's going to be something else. I feel you're going to have to reach out to someone else. And that's what I see. And I know that's not what you wanted to hear, but that's what comes through. Knowing this, you should not put yourself on hold for ADA human rights. I think there's something else you're going to have to reach out to. Okay? Yeah. So, I know that there are times in our life when things really crappy happen. And it's not always just about, relationships are very scary places. When we love someone, we love them with all our heart. And when things come to an end, we're always so surprised when things start to turn into an emotionally abusive situation. I'm going to look at 11 warning signs of emotional abuse in relationships, because I think that this was kind of something that we just read on. And then again, I don't think either of these people wanted to hurt each other. It says you never really know someone until you've tried to leave them. Many people who witness various forms of physical abuse and domestic violence in their parents' marriages swear, and this can be guys too, swear they will never settle for that kind of life in their own relationships. However, many are so focused on physical forms of abuse that they miss the warning signs of emotional abuse, at least until they find themselves caught in the trap of an emotionally abusive relationship or marriage themselves. Having set the bar at physical abuse, which is where our society still keeps that bar to a large extent, women in situations and men in situations of emotional abuse often feel that if they aren't being hit, they aren't being abused, and they therefore have no right to complain, let alone initiate a divorce or breakup. If you were raised in an environment of abuse, you may feel actually more comfortable, and crazy as that sounds, you may actually feel more familiar and comfortable living in a cycle of violence, which includes emotional forms of violence such as threats to your privacy and control of resources than you realize. And even if you do realize this and feel certain that you want to get a divorce or break up and leave that toxic relationship, emotional abusers have plenty of tricks up their sleeves for making you believe that leaving them is impossible. So here are some signs that you may be in one of those relationships. Withholding affection is one of the signs. Withholding affection from a partner is a way to punish the partner and to exercise power and control. And this is done intentionally and is sometimes stated to the partner by saying something like, "No kisses until you can be nice again." And some partners withhold affection after a disagreement because they don't feel connected or they don't feel like offering loving gestures in the moment. But in such cases, the behavior happens only occasionally rather than a frequent basis, which keeps you guessing whether it's really what you think it is. Threats. An abuser, an emotional abuser, threatens to expose you in a way that you find embarrassing, or they may threaten to take something important from you, such as money, your home, or even your own kids. Some might threaten to leave you if they don't get their way, or they may say that they'll tell your friends or family something personal about you, which is doubly damaging, as not only are they threatening you, but they are implying that there is something so wrong with you that you should feel ashamed. Ultimatums. Ultimatums are really a covert threat, with the emotional abuser placing the blame for having to make you decide about something back on you, the way they see it, the fact that they are giving you a choice through which you are rectifying the situation by doing what they want you to do, is a way in which they are actually being generous to you, and that therefore all blame for the situation and any possible consequences are entirely your fault, is what they want you to think. 4, lack of respect for your privacy is emotional abuse. Often a subtle sign of abuse, your partner may check your private messages or your voicemails, either by hacking into them or directly insisting you give them the passwords for all of email and social media accounts. They might even go as far as to insist you share email and social media so they can analyze everything you do and say. 5, property damage. The skirts to the line between physical and emotional abuse. An abusive partner may break or lose something they know is meaningful to you as a way to punish you and remind you of their power they hold over you. All right? So those are all things that you need to realize are forms of emotional abuse. And if you are going through those things, it may just be wise to remember that sometimes you have to take your bitch pill, right? You have to not allow it to happen. It's very difficult, and the last thing you want to do is wait till the very last minute to suddenly start to become that assertive person that you should have been from the start. Remember, we train people how to treat us from the very start. If you go into a relationship and you start that relationship out by doing all the work, sure enough, you're going to end up in a relationship where every little tiny thing is on you. If you start a relationship by allowing someone to disrespect you, then sure enough, if you get married, you're walking into emotional or physical abuse. Remember, we can't always blame the other person. We have to take accountability sometimes for our sad sack ability to allow people to treat us without regard. And if you have not reached that point yet, it's important for you to remember that it's never too late to stand up for yourself. It's never too late to take your bitch pill. All right, we have one last in quick from Emily. Emily says, "Hi, Anne-Marie, do you see my financial situation improving any time soon? Thank you." All right, Emily, so I'm looking at a month-by-month review, financial review for you. And looking at that, I have the following. Emily, I have January. Pretty good. I mean, you're doing okay. February, really important to hang on to every penny you have. March, this is a month where perhaps you may be tempted to blow it. If you are finding that in March you are getting tired of saving money and starting to go in overdrive of wanting and hungry to spend it, remember you only set yourself backwards for April. May and June, May it says still tight. In June, it says you're back on the financial horse. So again, the good months for your finances, if with discipline you remember that you have to kind of curb what your online spending or scrimp and save a little bit. January, February look good. The tempting months to blow it are March, April, and May. Or March and then have to pay the consequences in April and May for blowing it in March. So instead of having 2 months up and 3 months to recover, try to take it easy a little bit in that very telling month of March, and you'll do just fine. And that's what I see, Emily. Okay? Excuse me. Excuse me. So, I am going to do one last reading, and this is the life path reading that I love to do. When you come to me for a personal reading, which you do by going to thecallingoflight.com, where you can get a 15-minute reading for $30, or a half hour for $60, or 2 half-hour sessions for $120. The reading will start by me reading on the energy of your first name. I then go into a more in-depth reading on what's around your life now, patterns I see, the future in the time frame of 12 months. You are then free to ask any question that you wish. When our session is over, I give a life path reading. A life path reading is similar to Chinese I Ching, where they would throw sticks in the air and then they would come down in a pattern. And when that pattern landed, it went each pattern had a specific philosophy or specific life path for that year for you. So I am going to do a life path reading for Mr. Bill because I don't have anyone else here. Mr. Bill, I am giving you the life path reading for you. And what comes up for Mr. Bill, our wonderful sound man this year, is the following. Mr. Bill, you get the reading, you get the coyote, the path of the coyote. So I'm going to read what your life path for the coyote means. And that comes up the following. The coyote is the symbol of the sacred trickster, but also the one who provides growth and understanding by ensuring the things don't go in a way that makes for chaos for others. The coyote brings the energy of divine, so that sets you free from the shackles. So in other words, the ability to have a fun lifestyle, which can be shackles to you as much as your ability to have fun at the same time. If coyote calls to you, it's a time to pay special attention to detours and disappointment, as they are the tests of your faith in 2019. You have set your intentions and formed them over to the Great Spirit, yet you may find yourself lost and confused when it appears you are being led off course or off the path. Remember, the coyote is very smart. So, great growth and understanding are in 2019 for Mr. Bill, and the coyote is calling for you. So that's what I have, and I wish you all a wonderful, beautiful holiday. Bye-bye.
Psychic radio, holistic radio, spiritual radio. This is AchieveRadio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/achieve.